Hello, and welcome to Group Management Introduction. This training is a quick overview of processes in which clinician staff may be called upon to review or edit information in group management, also known as GM. Prior to this video, all new employees should have viewed the new user video, and in doing so will already be familiar with this basic navigation. This training is presented by the Accounts Receivable Department, who maintains and supports the software. If you have not viewed the new user video, you can locate it through Summit's Learning Management System, LMS, under the Accounts Receivable category. Our objective is to teach standard concepts and processes so all GM data is uniform across the sites. We want to ensure you are comfortable and confident in your new role and with the tools you are given. This agenda includes editing patient data, coded notes, which is our inter-office business communication, insurance waivers, viewing the schedule, a live demonstration in the software, and then the Accounts Receivable website and where to find support. We'll first conduct an overview of the GM interface presented on PowerPoint slides. Then we'll switch to a live view and reproduce our steps as we display additional aspects. Group management is the application used to create patient records, store patient demographics, and bill the insurance companies. It transfers much of this patient data to the Allscripts application, creating the patient's medical record. If changes need to be done to a patient's demographics, they need to be done in GM. 90% of the information entered in the GM application comes from the patient's registration form. This is updated annually or when patient data changes. All patient forms, including insurance ID and driver's licenses, are scanned and housed in Allscripts. Updating patient data. The new user video covers the navigation of all categories in GM. So for this demonstration, we will focus on how to edit existing patient data found in Patient Manager, which is represented as PM in the upper navigation links. And then we'll move to the Patient Management category and review the appointment scheduling links. We begin by clicking the PM link and a search window opens. It is best practice to search first by the Social Security number, or the name, or the date of birth. Not all fields are required at one time. Once we've identified the patient, their demographics information opens, and depending on whether the patient or billing name is clicked, will land the user on either the Account or Patient tab. In this view, we begin with the Account tab. This is information on the person responsible for paying the bill. If an infant or minor were our patient, then the account holder would be the parent. Account holder is very seldom a minor. To edit this information, we click on Select Option. This is the same on every tab. The drop-down presents with an option to edit account demographics. The other area that may need edited in the Account tab, although it's not a requirement, is the Account Notepad. Several offices will use this space to indicate if there is a signed HIPAA document. It is noted by indicating the name and relationship of the assignee, along with their phone number and the date the form was signed. This needs to be signed annually to stay valid. The next tab we'll explore is Patient Demographics. Patient Demographics contains twice the fields as does Account Demographics. Again, we'd click on the Select option and the drop-down presents the choice to edit Patient Demographics. The Edit view presents itself in a clean, linear view. All data must be entered in caps. It is an insurance requirement and conforms with our reporting. The shaded yellow fields with an arrow are required, although this is not applicable to Address To field. Of particular interest on the clinical side may be the primary provider, primary location, and referring physician. The primary provider is the MD under which the patient is listed. This can be updated by the patient's current site. If the patient transfers to another site, allow that site to make the update. If the patient is seeing a mid-level, an MA, PA, or an NP, that is represented in the primary location field. This field is updated twice a year and should not be edited. And the referring physician is only applicable if the referral was from one Summit physician to another. All of these fields ensure the proper credit is being applied to the attending practitioner. So if the practitioner is not within Summit Medical Group, the fields would be non-applicable. After the edits are complete, you would simply click Save. The next tab is the Insurance tab. Its purpose is self-explanatory, and the AR department offers 2 separate levels of training to include this topic. Either entering or editing the data should be left to that trained personnel, but anyone can certainly click on the Insurance tab to confirm the patient's current insurance carriers. The other links to notice are those in the top right banner. These stay in place during all navigation in Patient Manager. The Demographics link is in bold because that is the current link in which we are viewing. The Transaction link is related to charges and insurance claims and mainly used by AR. However, the Appointment link provides insight into the patient's office activity for a 2-year rolling period. So let's say your patient isn't quite certain if they've already scheduled their Medicare annual wellness visit. You would access Patient Manager, search for the patient, and click on Appointments. However, if they do have a future appointment, note the encounter type and/or chief complaint. The future appointment could be a lab appointment and not related to Medicare annual wellness. The last link at the top is the Comments tab. It contains any business communication that's transpired with the patient and notes from accounts receivable to support the office with their business processes. The Comments tab is also the location to mark if the account is HIPAA restricted. We'll review that in a minute. You'll find a wealth of information reported here. Next, let's review insurance waivers under the HIPAA policy. This policy, along with several others, can be located on the AR website under the Practice Resources section. We'll look at that area during the live demo. The HIPAA records waiver applies when a patient does not want their insurance billed for a medical procedure. This cannot be used to bypass non-participating insurance, higher deductibles, or government insurance. The patient will self-pay and sign a self-payment form. This process is not eligible for discounts, and the patient must pay 100% of the charge. Viewing the schedule. Let's now go back to the home page and look at the Patient Management category. In the new user video, we suggested this would be more aptly named Appointment Management because all the links are about existing appointments. Appointment Manager. You can't schedule new appointments, you can only work with existing. Automatic scheduling. Searched is based on the encounter code and the schedule configuration. Provider schedule. This is used to create and view appointments. And resource view. We can identify availability of multiple providers or locations. Let's review each of these 4 links in order. First, the Appointment Manager. The Appointment Manager enables you to do exactly that. Manage appointments. The user can view and check in appointments, but not create them. The view consists of all or one place of service, all, one, or multiple providers, all, one, or multiple encounter codes, and all, one, or multiple arrival status. As an example, this could be helpful in quickly determining the number of wellness visits for that day. The provider schedule is a comprehensive view of one provider's full day or weekly schedule. It can be used to create, reschedule, or cancel appointments. Upon clicking the link, 3 search fields appear. Once the provider number is inserted into the first field, it should remain the default. However, if a change or update would be required, a user can either click the gray search box to search by name or numeric code, or simply enter the numeric code itself into the provider field. The date defaults to the current date. The display will default to the current time. Note the filters present in both of these fields. The date defaults to 5 days, and the display defaults to the time option. Any of these can limit or expand the view based on the search criteria. For this example, the search criteria is 1 day and a full day display. After confirming the settings, click on Search. Both the 1 and 5 day view will indicate blocked, appointment, and free time on the schedule. There are advantages to both views. The 1 day view displays more patient information, most notably the encounter code, the chief complaint, and the information column, which displays a link to the coded notes and payment information. Note the icons in this field. Copay is represented with a $sign, sticky notes with an asterisk, past due amounts by a gold coin, and phone registrations, which indicate a new patient by a blue phone, and pre-authorizations with a P. If the patient is being arrived into the office, the user would click the pending link in the status column and choose the appropriate status. If the patient is being scheduled for a new appointment, the user clicks on the open appointment time. For this example, we'll schedule an appointment. Automatic scheduling. This view offers an exact search, but only for one physician at one location. Many physicians have their schedules grouped by encounter codes. Using the filter options provided, the next available appointment can easily be determined with this search. The preferred appointment is then chosen by clicking on the Select button. The resource view is a great search for those sites that support multiple physicians. If a nurse is navigating between doctors for the day and needs to compare their schedules side by side, this would be the location. We'll look at other examples during the live demo. Let's switch to that now. Welcome to the home page of Group Management. Let's access Patient Manager. There are multiple ways to conduct a search. The drop-down arrow contains the names of the last 5 patients whose accounts were entered. Simply click on the name and it will take the user directly to the Account tab. A search in the last and first name field will display both patient and account holders' names. The Change Search button will take the user back to the Patient Manager homepage and keeps the current information. The SSN field can be used in conjunction with the name field or alone. No dashes are required, and all 9 digits or just the last 4 can be entered. The name, date of birth, and SSN will return results in list form with the best possible matches. However, the MRN search will take the user directly to the patient's demographics. In the top banner, we see we have an overview of the account and patient holder's identity. This information is always a good checkpoint when we are in a patient's record. This is where the user can also confirm the page on which they are located. Let's look at those live edits now. Simply click on Select option and edit Account Demographics. From here, the electronic form opens for easy input. Again, we may want to update HIPAA contact information in the account notepad. All other column fields are self-populated. The Patient tab has the same navigation. Click on Select option and edit Patient Demographics. When applicable, the deceased date is very important to our records as it will stop automated calls and begin the process of closing the patient's record. The Insurance tab displays the patient's current insurance plans. The private set is most widely used, encompassing commercial, Medicare, and Medicaid carriers. However, other sets can be included to represent the type of office visit, such as workman's comp, or in this case, behavioral health. There are two areas to note in this section. Click on any insurance rank. In this example, we'll click on primary. Click the tab at the top titled Pre-Auth/Visit. In this area, you'll find pre-authorization numbers, their descriptions, and/or locations. This view also displays the insurance copay amount. Up on the top right navigation bar, we have our additional links. The transaction link is used for charges and insurance claims. Appointments are where we can see any past or pending appointments, and if there are none, can click on the provider schedule to get a patient booked. And then we have the comments link, which contains the HIPAA restricted notification and the coded notes section. HIPAA restricted is an indication if a procedure or test has been excluded from insurance billing. Coded notes contains automated notes from the Accounts Receivable Department reporting on insurance eligibility as well as patient communication. These often will pop up on the screen as soon as the patient's record is accessed. Those that pop up are called sticky notes and are indicated by a star. If a sticky note appeared and was inadvertently closed before reading, this is the place to locate that message. Any business communication that has transpired with the patient should be noted here also. Creating or editing a coded note is permission-based, so not every employee will have the same permissions. That concludes our review of Patient Manager. We'll now review the scheduling links. From the home page under Patient Management, we again see the 4 links to scheduling appointments. Let's start with Appointment Manager. This search allows the user to search a place of service, one or multiple providers, one or multiple encounters, and one or multiple arrival status. Multiples can be chosen by holding the Control key and right-clicking the mouse when scrolling through the selection. All categories can also be searched by clicking in the category and entering the desired code. This search is good for check-in and updates, but not new appointments. Automatic scheduling. With automatic scheduling, this is the location in which you'd be searching an appointment based on the encounter code, time preference, and intervals. The IT department provides in-depth training on this search type. Let's now go to the provider schedule. This view shows one provider schedule at one location. Again, once the provider number is input into this field, it remains the default unless changed. This is another area we want to note the default filters, as it makes a difference on the results. From the schedule view, the user could click the time of the appointment or use the buttons at the top to navigate up or back a day. The other thing the user may experience in any search is the provider code is unavailable. This can occur when it's not a provider but a facility code. Simply click on the search box and click the Facility Code radio button. Input the number and the search should then be successful. Lastly, we look at Resource View. What if your location has multiple providers? Resource View is a good choice if the user needs to find the first available provider at a place of service. Or if a nurse or mid-level is supporting multiple doctors, this view displays all schedules as well as the reason for the visit so they can best plan their time. For this example, I'll enter Place of Service 347. And then I'll add 2 provider codes as well as the facility code for the lab at Maryville. The results show an interface that we've seen with our previous appointment tools. The number 1 at the top right corner will indicate if there are additional pages on this search. There is another field on the screen that's not yet been mentioned. The Resource View contains searches that are frequently used by a site. Instead of filling in all of the same criteria during each search, the site can request this generated search. This feature is available to any location if they make a request to IT help. A user cannot enter both a place of service and a resource view. It's one or the other. That concludes scheduling. So with this overview, we've looked at where to find and how to edit patient demographics. Patient Manager is where we can also find past and pending appointments for an individual patient. And we've looked at 4 different scheduling links and the advantages to each. Let's keep in mind how different filters will produce different results. Next, we'll look at the Accounts Receivable intranet website and their support resources. We start at the Summit intranet webpage. This should be the default page for Internet Explorer. We'll hover the cursor over Summit Strategic Solutions, and when another navigation menu opens, we'll click the second link titled Accounts Receivable. This is the AR homepage. The teal buttons at the top are requests, asking for an action to be taken. There are 3 that we will review. First, the Discount Sleep and Discount Ancillary request. In Summit's environment, ancillary services are those offering X-ray, MRI, CT scans, ultrasounds, and mammograms. Both of these requests are for a patient to have a service at a greatly reduced fee or no cost. If a patient has no insurance, is under financial hardship, and the doctor feels the patient would not otherwise have the test, a request can be submitted for either the sleep or ancillary services at a considerably reduced rate. Note in the example that this applies only to those patients with no insurance. Then we also offer the patient discharge request. Should a physician wish to terminate the relationship with a patient, this form will be completed. The collections department will send out a letter to the patient citing the reason and take care of any outstanding task. This location is restricted and only accessible by site managers and designees, so not all permissions will be the same. The orange buttons at the bottom are informational. Of interest will be practice resources. This is the location of all policies, procedures, insurance billing, and support documents that AR provides to support the site locations, the practices. Billing matrices are often used by front office staff, charge entry personnel, and site managers as a guide on how to bill for certain services, how payers cover, and what they cover. Lab Resources offer some universal forms as well as a link to the Central Labs webpage. Very helpful. Policies and Procedures provide internal guidelines. Click on the link and search for your keyword. It may take a couple of tries. The price guide is applicable to CPT, Medicare fees, allowed amounts. The purpose is to help front office staff to quickly determine a procedural cost. Back on the AR homepage, at the bottom of the page, there is also a link to this year's Medicare fee schedule. This offers a simple search for procedural codes. And that ends our overview of the Accounts Receivable webpage. We hope you found this short tutorial helpful. It has provided direction to finding and editing patient demographics in the GM application, as well as identifying several AR tools to support and assist with clinician tasks. Welcome to Summit Medical Group, and congratulations on your new position.